Yeah, so welcome to today's video, and yeah, it's a Galaxy S7 on my S. It's a J7 Plus 2017. So without further ado, let's get started. So all jokes aside, I am actually kind of doing this because that is my mother's old phone, and here is the J7 Plus in its beautiful glory. So let's go ahead and talk about the design for a little bit, because that is what I really don't like about this phone, but overall it looks pretty okay in my opinion. So on the back we find a matte aluminum body, and it feels pretty good at all, but we are not going to even take note of it once you put on a case. So yeah, it's useless in a way that it does feel good, but whatever. Second thing that I noticed is that look at the back of this phone, number one. And look at the back of a OnePlus 60. Yeah, I think you should know where I'm coming from, but whatever. They all look the same. And the front is a totally different story. The front kind of reminds me of a Galaxy Note 7 or maybe a S7H when it's not curved. I mean, they are the same phones after all. They look the same from the front. Don't bash me, okay? I know how a S7H looks like. I am a S7 user, so I should know how it looks like. And yeah, it just is pretty meh for the design, but I love the front. I love the front. It's white. It comes in different flavors like white, black. There's pink, I believe, but pink comes in those, pink buttons and pink accents with the pink, everything about it. It's pink. And of course, we have the black, which is just black, and we've got the champagne gold, which is gold with white. Now, a little thing to know about this is that the original glass does have a gold Samsung logo and a gold, and gold keys. So this one is just a replacement screen that, well, I have to replace. If you haven't watched the video, I'll link it out somewhere so that you can check it out. Let's talk about the display, which is this thing's big feature, I believe. So this is a 1080p 60Hz OLED display. Now, it is not as bad as this, I swear to God. This is not the original display, as I said, but it is not as bad. And number two is that it is a 400 plus ppi display, which means that you are getting really sharp really sharp content that you're watching on this phone. Also, this is a 1080p display, don't be mistaken, this is just 1080p, but again, mid-range phones at a time are like this. And of course, we do have the 16:9 aspect ratio, just like any other phones from 2017, except for, newer, sexier, futuristic flagship smartphones. Aside from that, this is a pretty sharp display, and I believe it's set at 360p for no good reason. Alright, there you go. It's much better right now. So again, it's pretty good. And the audio performance, let's talk about it. This is a mono speaker with just the speaker right over there. Jokes on you if you think that it's really a front-facing speaker, but it's right over there. Originally, I thought it was a bad idea to, to just put it over there. But I always thought that when you're gaming, you always rest your hands over there. But it turns out you're mostly gonna rest your hands on the bezels, which is why I think it is a good idea now. But even though that is the case, I still don't think it sounds as good as the S7, even though the S7 is more muffled. But again, it is a mid-range phone, we have to take note of that. Now on the front, we have the 16 megapixel front-facing camera, accompanied with our receiver for our phone, or our small little speaker. And also accompanying it is another sensor. I am not too sure what sensor is that. And next to the sensor is a LED flash. So what this does is that it allows you to take a pretty good picture with, in the night. So if I got turn it on, hi, that's my clear S7. There you go, it's on, and it's pretty blinding. There you go. So it is on. Yes, it is a front-facing flash on a Galaxy smartphone, and I don't think this is a good idea. Just get rid of the flash and make the screen flash out, flash out white like usual. I feel like it will look better in that case, and it will not blind anybody using this one. This phone also features a 3000 milliamp hour battery. I believe this is the time where Samsung is kind of scared of what happened to what I believe is the best design Note ever, the Note 7. And yes, it is a micro USB phone with at least a headphone jack, which is to be proud of. And also on the side, we do have the volume rockers with the SIM card tray. And of course, over here, we do have our power button with the already talked about speaker. It is quite loud, but not satisfactory. Now on the back, again, we'll get the dual cameras. One of them is a 13 megapixel and one of them is a 5 megapixel depth, which is what Samsung still use today. And of course, we have this really beautiful Samsung logo, really shiny one. I really like it. On the front is where we see the 16 megapixel camera that we talk about. We'll talk about image quality later. And of course, of all metal smartphones, you have to include a plastic band around is to allow radio transparency. Now, really, like, I don't get the design of this phone. It's nice from the front, it's okay from the back, but if you look down over here, it's an abomination. At least the S7 doesn't look that bad. I mean, at least any other phones from this era doesn't look as bad, but again, it's a mid-range phone. I don't really like things to be arranged that way, but it's Samsung. What can you expect? A pretty surprising feature of this J7 Plus is that it's got a facial recognition system. And boy oh boy, I'm impressed, because this is actually the first Samsung mid-range phone to just put this in a damn mid-range phone. And the best part is the S7 doesn't even have this feature, and I find myself missing this feature quite a lot. But due to whatever that's happening, I don't think we'll be using it quite as much. So allow me to demonstrate how this works. So right here, MediaTek S7 camera is the J7 Plus right here, and right here is me. So I do set my face on this phone already. I'm just gonna demonstrate to y'all how it is. So you just do it like this, like a regular. There you go. So it just unlocked. All right, let's do that again, shall we? I mean, it's not even like the camera. There you go. All right. So yeah, there you go. So it is a pretty accurate feature on the J7 Plus. It's just that you need enough lighting to get it scan your face, which is pretty cool, judging from the fact that this is it's not really that accurate, but under bright lighting, if you can see your face, it's a pretty good face scanner. Notice that it's only 2D unlock. That means someone who have a similar feature to your face can unlock this phone. So do note that these things are not that secure like the A30s, but yeah, it's still pretty cool to have a mid-range phone to do this. Now, also unique is definitely the fingerprint scanner. So a lot of phones that time, they would have their fingerprint scanners at the back or maybe at the side. I think that is now. But this phone right here also have a fingerprint scanner. Now, shocker, I know, but it does have a fingerprint scanner, as I need to mention it like 3 billion more times. Next up is what I want to talk about. Yes, it's got a pretty quick fingerprint scanner. Now you can wake this phone up by just putting your finger right there, and it unlocks. So what I find a lacking feature on the S7 is this, but something, it is not as fast as I stand corrected. It is pretty fast. There you go. So it is a pretty fast fingerprint scanner even after 4 years of its release date, and of course it still is a pretty okay phone for most. And yeah, I would still recommend this as a budget phone, but there are drawbacks. For example, the camera. Now, though it does look kind of okay to me, but photos taken are just terrible. And look at that shutter speed. Now I'm just gonna take a picture on my S7. There you go. And then now we are going to do a front facing one. The pictures appear kind of muddy. I don't know, it's not as clear as before, but again, this is just my experience with this phone. Many others would have taken more clearer pictures, but in my case, I didn't. And the front facing camera. Let's not look at my face. It's an abomination. Oh, and the wireless charging freaks out. Speaking of which, of course, of any other mid-range phones, it has no wireless charging. And to make more common sense is that metal bags do not allow for wireless charging, so don't even try to modify it to get it some wireless charging unless you can get like bypass the whole metal bag thing, or just install like a plastic mod on it and just do a wireless charging change or something like that. If not, don't even try this. You can't do that because it's a mid-range phone from 2017, so I mean you cannot reverse charge this phone. You cannot reverse charge any other phones with this one, so unfortunately the answer is no. But what you can do is you can use the same money that you are saving up for this phone to get an S7, and it does that feature, but you're losing your face unlock and you're losing a quicker fingerprint scanner. That is not that useful. Of course, last but not least, we have to talk about the battery endurance. So this battery is not good. Now it is probably because of the fact that it's an old phone, it's a 4-year-old phone, and it's a 3000 mAh battery, and yes, that battery can be fitted into the S7 if you ever want to try it. Just know that the contact points, you have to maneuver the things a little bit. But here's a little weird question: can you use a A30s battery on the J7 Plus? I believe you can, fortunately, I think. But the thing is, how are you going to fit it in? Because the batteries on those are very different. Also, another thing is, yes, I did try that on my S7. It looks super ridiculous, but hey, at least I managed to get it. Yeah, I managed to get the A30s battery working on my S7. So I suppose this thing can also do the same thing. It's just that it will be a little awkward, and you have to have the bag open and stuff like that. So overall, if you are still having this phone, it's time for upgrade. You can maybe upgrade to a Galaxy S8, at least a S8, or a S7 if you really still like the bezels. And what this S7 does is that it does give you a significantly superior experience rather than this J7 Plus. It also features wireless charging, a faster Exynos 8890, which is a flagship flagship stuff, rather than the Helio P20 found on the J7 Plus. You're also getting reverse wireless charging, you're getting headphone jack, of course, and well, you're getting a lot more things like the 2K display either. So if you are planning on getting this as a backup phone, I suppose you can do it. Just, well, you have to know that it can get kind of slow, and 32GB is not exactly today's standards. It's not for today's standards anyway. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and of course I will see you next time with another phone, I hope.